I'll always remember the first morning we shared, when I met the woman I loved in that tiny apartment where we raised our daughter. Her innocent laughter still rings in my ears, and I can't forget the joy of seeing her take her first steps. Family life wasn't always perfect, but at the time, I thought I was incredibly lucky. I had a wife, a beautiful daughter, and a job I enjoyed. But I was wrong. What I thought was a strong marriage turned out to be a facade. We married young, just 19, and it felt like a whirlwind. It started with school love, an unplanned pregnancy, and before we knew it, Ella and I were navigating the tough realities of living together. The romantic evenings under the stars were soon replaced with the harshness of daily life, tight finances, and sleepless nights after our daughter was born. We weren't ready for adulthood, not really. Thankfully, my parents, even my mother-in-law, who never quite warmed to me, were there to help. I studied at a technical college and worked part-time, and after graduation, I got a job at an auto repair shop. I had engineering skills and skillful hands, and soon customers began to trust me with expensive cars. My job was getting better, and I started making good money, but I had to pay for it. I spent less and less time at home, and Ella's complaints seemed to only get louder. The role of a young mother was tough on her. She grew frustrated, quick to anger, then withdrawn. Things got a little easier when our daughter started attending press school, and Ella decided it was time to find work. She started as an administrator at the same car service where I worked, but it wasn't long before she quit, saying it was too difficult dealing with customers. She tried other jobs, clothing stores, beauty salons, even a grocery warehouse, but none of them seemed to fit. Then the arguments started again. I'd come home to find a discontented, irritable woman who was never happy. One day she presented me with a new idea. "I'm tired of working for someone else," she said, as if it were just another normal conversation. "What if we started our own business?" "I've never thought about it," I replied, a little taken aback. "We're fine, Ella. I'm not making that much money, and we're making ends meet." "Are you happy just being a regular worker?" Ella scoffed. "Don't you want more for us?" "I'm happy with my job," I said, feeling defensive. "I'm not a businessman. I'm a worker. I don't have the drive for that, and we'd need capital to start." "We'll sell the car and take out a loan," she said with conviction. "You'd have to save up until we had enough customers. And you're used to a comfortable life already," I replied, trying to be practical. I leaned in to kiss her cheek, to comfort her, but she pulled away. "And you could give your number to everyone who comes to the workshop," she said with a mischievous grin. "They'll come running to you when we open." "No," I shook my head. "That's not right. They hired me without experience, and they treated me well. I can't take advantage of that. It's just not how things are done." "Oh, how honourable," she said with a mocking laugh. She returned to the idea again and again, but then one day I saw a serious look on her face and thought she'd start pushing me about the business idea again. But I was wrong. "I'm pregnant," she said. "Ella, my love." I said, shocked but happy. "How wonderful." "There's nothing wonderful about it," she snapped. "One kid was enough for me." "What are you talking about?" I said, trying to make her see the bigger picture. "We have a beautiful daughter. Layla's always wanted a brother or sister. She's getting older, she's in school now, and she can help. I'll be there, and everything will be different this time." But over the years, it hit me that I'd missed so much. Layla was growing up without me. When she started first grade, I had this realization that she was no longer a little girl. Just yesterday, it felt like I was pushing her stroller, And now there she was, my girl, with a big bow in her hair and a bouquet of flowers, proudly holding hands with her teacher on her first day of school. I promised myself I wouldn't make the same mistakes with the second child. And when fate gave me another chance, I kept that promise. We had a baby girl, a mini version of Ella. We named her Lily. She became my little princess. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to comfort her when she cried. After work, I'd walk with her, and I even took days off to take her to the doctor. Her first word was Dad, a gift for all the love and attention I gave her. But things between Ella and me remained strained. I started to notice that my increased presence at home seemed to irritate her. She'd snap at me over little things, making sharp comments or sarcastic remarks for no reason. One evening, I came home to find her waiting for me, and it wasn't the warm reception I had hoped for. Out with the guys again. Not in a rush to get home. She greeted me coldly. Ella, what's going on with you? I asked, confused. The workday ended half an hour ago. I just stopped by the store on my way back. I don't know what I'm supposed to grab for dinner, but you're still not here, she said, not even acknowledging me. I'll be here for the next couple of days. I'll help out. You know that, I reassured her, hoping to ease the tension. But there was no stopping her. She began pacing the house, bringing up old arguments and resentments. I tried my best to stay calm. When I felt my patience running thin, I decided to leave. I didn't want to make things worse. I just needed some peace and quiet. I remembered how long it had been since I'd gone fishing. I packed up my gear and drove to the lake. The silence there was a relief. I spent the night by the water, away from the chaos. When I returned home the next morning, I found an unpleasant surprise. Ella and the girls were gone. I called her immediately, but she didn't pick up. So I called Layla. She told me they were at Grandma's. I went to my mother-in-law's house, but she wouldn't let me in. Ella didn't want to talk to me, and they wouldn't let me see the girls. I could only communicate secretly with Layla on the phone. This went on for months. Then, one day, Ella finally reached out to me. She told me she wouldn't be coming back until I became a normal person. She wanted me to open a business with her mom. I refused. Since then, we've been living apart. Then, about 6 months later, Ella called one evening. For the first time in a while, she wasn't snapping at me or being rude. You won't believe it. Layla and the girls won first place in the dance competition, she said, sounding genuinely happy. They're going to an international festival in the Czech Republic. That's amazing, I said. Why didn't you let me know? I would have definitely come to watch. Ella didn't respond directly, but started talking about the trip, the packing, and the new costumes they were getting. Then, at the end of the conversation, she casually added, "We need money and permission for the trip." "Okay, I'll give you the money. Can we go together?" I suggested, hoping this might be a way to reconnect. But Ella immediately shut me down. She refused to even consider it. We ended up having a big argument. Afterward, Layla called, crying, asking if she could go to the competition. I managed to calm her down, but I stood firm in my decision not to give in. One conversation, in particular, was especially difficult. "You've ruined my life, and now you're ruining our child's future," Ella shouted. "This is such a huge opportunity for Layla, and you're throwing it all away. Now you care about this?" I snapped back. Where was this concern before? "Stop it," she retorted. "Does it really hurt you that much?" she sneered. "You've always loved Lily more anyway, and she's not even your daughter." "I cheated on you with your boss." Ella laughed. her voice twisted with hysteria. My head was spinning. I barely remember what happened next. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in my boss's office. I must have stood there in silence, glaring at him with disgust, while he awkwardly looked away, avoiding my gaze. Of course, we got divorced. It was inevitable. I had to file a paternity suit, and Ella denied everything, but the DNA test revealed the painful truth. Lily wasn't my daughter. Now, I only pay child support for our oldest. Then the ex-wife came back, tears streaming down her face, telling me she'd realized her mistakes and was sorry. She begged me to reconsider, claiming that I couldn't leave the girls without a father, because the real father is the one who raises them. It was almost unbearable to face her. The woman who had betrayed me laughed behind my back and destroyed everything we built. I had poured so much love and patience into our marriage, despite knowing that our relationship was toxic. I had hoped foolishly that having a second child would somehow make things better, bring us closer. But I was wrong. I came to understand that if there's no love between parents, the children will grow up in a house full of tension and resentment. And I thought I was doing the right thing by sticking it out. I wasn't. There's one other thing I was wrong about. I always thought I didn't have the entrepreneurial drive. But I was wrong about that too. I quit my job and started working for myself. And slowly, life began to improve. I've been through betrayal, and I've walked away from toxic, painful relationships. Now I'm focused on building something new, something that's truly mine.